Welcome to the Self-Storage Show, where I have conversations with my industry friends, talk with owners and vendors, and share tales about my management company, 3 Mile Storage. Let's go. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross of the Self-Storage Show. Today we're going to do a little special vendor spotlight. It's going to be kind of a rapid fire question. Got a special guest here, Eva Chavez. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing today, Jim?
Good. I know we just kind of briefly met not too long ago, but I was very impressed with your SEO stuff. So I'm like, all right, I got to get you on. We got to chat about kind of your journey and what you're doing with the self-storage SEO. So if you don't mind, hey, let's just jump right into it. Kind of give us a quick little background, who you are, what you do, and a little bit of your journey in self-storage.
Of course, yeah. So my name is Eva Chavez. I've been doing marketing for 14 years now, but in the self-storage aspect or field for about 8 years. I started with the property management side of things where, you know, it was kind of the wild, wild west and I loved it. But I also noticed when I was there that the tech side of things was extremely ignored. So when I was there for the 4 years, I got to know a couple of people and moved over from there to the actual tech side of the storage industry, where I started at a tech startup company. And I worked there for another 4 years. And it was eye-opening because I just kept seeing how much there was available to do within that aspect for SEO, for PPC, for everything to do with marketing. And there was really no one professional for it. So after 4 years there, I decided to open Beacon Ave Marketing and open myself up to the general public instead of behind a paywall. That's what I do now.
Perfect. All right, we're just gonna keep the questions going if you don't mind. So hey.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next question was.
Yeah, I'll pull up right now.
Sorry.
Very good. So let's go here. So again, I'm not the smartest person in the world when it comes to SEO stuff. So see if you can explain it to me. Kind of explain what SEO means. Pretend I'm a 6-year-old. Go ahead.
Of course. So SEO, start off with the acronym itself, search engine optimization. It's exactly that. It's a set of rules that was created for professionals to follow that allows you to get your website to be found on the first page of search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo. And those principles kind of are consistent across all of those different search engines.
Easy enough. Mm-hmm. All right. Keep it coming. So, all right. So why is SEO important for my storage business?
Of course. So SEO, when it's done correctly, positions you in kind of a formidable position to large opponents, especially in like your local area. Gives you a lot of free organic placement where you can have, you know, people click on your website and see who you are and not have to be seen, or I'm sorry, not have to pay to be seen, which is a huge thing. A lot of these REITs right now are paying top dollar to be on that first page on ads. So if you can get those clicks for free, that's really what you're going to want to do.
Cool. That's why I got you on here, because that's why I need to try to figure out myself and for my clients and everybody else listening. So how do I start doing SEO for my self-storage website?
You know, you can start in a few different places. I'd recommend you first reach out to your website company. A little bit later, I'll touch more on that. But if they're not doing anything, then you're going to want to reach out to a couple of different marketing agencies and get what I would call an assessment. Look at those assessments and see what their goal alignment is and if it aligns with what your goals are, because there are a couple of different goals that I have for my marketing strategies that I work through. One of them can be brand awareness, but the others mostly revolve around conversion and rentals.
Yes, that's what it all comes down to. We all want the rentals.
Exactly.
All right. So what are keywords? And how do I find the right ones for my self-storage business?
This is a big one. A lot of times people think you have to have lists of thousands of keywords to be able to be a big competitor. Honestly, it's about 10 keywords, and you're going to want to hit on those heavy hitters as best you possibly can. And then implement long tail keywords with those heavy hitters. And I think we all know what those 10 keywords are. If you have, and they're only 10 if you have RV, there's 3 extra ones if you have RV. So it's like self-storage near me, local storage, rent storage, self-storage facility storage units. Right off the top of my head, those are, you know, the big heavy hitters. And then of course there's the RV storage, local RV storage. boat and car parking, things like that. Those will add a little bit to it if you have those amenities at your facility. But you're going to want to hit on those and then just add long tail to those heavy hitters, those top 10s. So long tail is like if you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, you're going to want to put Cincinnati, Ohio at the end of every one of those keywords to try to get your local presence up, but also you're focusing on the main keyword, which is storage near me.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what I was just going to ask you. Like, you got to have the local information in there somewhere, so that's how the long tail. Gotcha. All right. So next up, so what is local SEO? Why is? Well, I already did that one. Next. Dun, dun, dun. All right. This is always a fun one. How can Google My Business help my self-storage company?
So lining up your local SEO will boost your Google My Business. What Google My Business does is it increases visibility. It helps your business information accessibility. Customer reviews are more readily available to people. Insights and analytics are available with GBP as well that are not inside of your analytics. They're different insights and analytics. Posting and updating your current clientele. Anybody who's on, Google My Business or on Google frequently, they can see if you have any updates. And then if you have the right tech team, you can also integrate bookings and reservations through that. I will tell you, there's only one company that has it set up that I know of that can do this, but much like the hotel industry, Google is working towards that for storage. So when you go onto the map and you see like the little price markers, that's what Google's working towards for storage. And it's been in the making for about 2 years, but they're really pushing towards that.
Sweet. Okay. I'm all for that. All right. Next up, what can I do to make my website better for SEO?
Of course. I'm going to give like 5 simple solutions to this. It's like the 5 top things that you need to do. I'm not going to go into depth for each one of those because obviously I could be here all day if I did that.
Each one of those would be a little separate episode. Yep.
Exactly. So number 1, optimize your website content. That's going to be the number 1 thing you're going to want to do. That's creating evergreen content, credible content that your users are reading through and actually engaging with. That's huge. Improve your website structure. This one's a lot more, people hear that and they think, oh my God, I can't do that. I have no idea how I would even start that. Website structure is literally how you put, links within your website and then send the bots through those links. So if you're on your home page, you want to make sure to link to 2 or 3 different pages within that same website that are on the same domain. So that bot can then move to those different links. Usually you'll put like a contact us, and then the contact us will also have like, terms and conditions, and then it'll keep moving the bot through your website, which creates a consistent flow and depth of your website. That's website structure.
Gotcha.
So it's just adding links, really. It helps the bots navigate. The other thing is, enhance your website speed and performance. This gets a lot more technical. You're going to have to talk to your team about that. It's resizing images, making sure that you have the right Java implementation to HTML coding, things like that. And then we're going to implement on-page SEO. Again, this comes into your marketing SEO company. There's a lot of on-page SEO techniques that need to be done. And then there's off-page SEO factors that people don't think about that actually directly tie into your website. So those are the 5 top things that I'd say you need to start looking at immediately if you have not started.
How did you do all that on top of your head? Okay. You know what you're talking about, apparently. All right, let's keep going here. All right. What kind of things should I write about on my website to help with SEO?
So content creation should focus on topics that are relevant to your industry. They should be addressing the needs and the concerns, questions, everything that your target audience might be going to Google to ask. So if they're saying, what do I store in a storage unit? That's a great piece of content. Why should I use a storage unit? Another great piece of content. Those are things that your general audience has questions about. You and I, we know what needs to go into a storage unit. We work in this industry, right? But that's not the average user. That's not our average customer. So we need to act like we're them.
Gotcha. All right, next. What is link building and how does it help my website SEO?
So link building is probably one of the most difficult pieces of SEO. A lot of times people think that you can go to a company and just purchase links and get them sent to your website. Really, it's more of an organic effort. I tell people to reach out to the Better Business Bureau, their local Chamber of Commerce, to get those local organic links to them, or sign up for them. But basically, links are just an authority rating. Linkbacks are an authority rating Google looks at, and it gives you credibility and trust. If another website that has high domain authority is linking to you, Google is going to say, hey, they must know who they're doing business with, and we're going to associate that same trust and credibility to them.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. All right. Keep going here. Are there any tools that can help me with SEO for my self-storage website?
So I'm gonna answer this twofold. The first part of it is absolutely look at your Search Console. It's the easiest way to look at your analytics. Google Search Console. It's the easiest way to look at your analytics. It gives you more snapshot information about what's happening on your website, and it also gives you technical information that's happening on your website. And anybody can access that. It's a free tool provided by Google. My second fold part of that question is, if you don't have a marketing professional in your company or in your organization, I don't recommend that you purchase any tools for yourself, because you're going to get in there and it's going to be very convoluted and you're not going to get much out of it. But if you do have somebody in your industry or organization that does manage that, I say Screaming Frog, Ahrefs, and SEMrush are the top 3 things that I currently use. Screaming Frog is the most technical thing that I use. It runs through all of the URLs, every error, every possible site structure, sitemap, things that you don't even think about. It gives you all of that information and runs it to you through APIs and all that. So that's why I say these are not things that you would purchase unless you know exactly what you're doing, because I'm APIing into Search Console, Google Analytics, Google Maps to make sure that I'm getting all that information structured into Screaming Frog so that I can understand my client on a broader level than just Google.
Gotcha. Yeah, I played with some of those tools. It's like, so over my head. So no,
sometimes I have to, like when I was working at the tech company, I'd have to go to my developers and be like, well, what does this even mean? They'd be like, don't worry, we'll fix it. And I'd be like, but tell me what it means.
Well, that kind of leads me to this next question. That's the perfect lead in. All right. So how do I know if my SEO efforts are even working?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be things that are seasonal, right, through our industry, but it shouldn't mean that seasonality should cause a decrease in traffic if you're actually working towards that effort. So through November, October, December of this year, I had a client who we started their SEO in July, and in the past 6 months and the last 3 months was 33%, but in the past 6 months, we've gone up 45% in traffic for their website. So that's one of the biggest measures that you can see. And then of course that traffic, the other thing is that you can see increase in keywords, but if those keywords are not directly correlated to the increase in traffic, then they're no good. So that's a big thing. So increased keywords is great, but you're going to also want to associate that with your traffic. So if you're seeing increased keywords, but your traffic is stagnant, that means they're just garnering a bunch of keywords that don't really do anything for you.
Gotcha. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I've gone to the point where I lose keywords, but get more traffic.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
because I'm tailoring it better.
See, that's kind of this next. See, you keep going, leading into the next question. That's perfect. So what are some common SEO mistakes that I should avoid?
Yes. Right now, the biggest one is people are neglecting their mobile sites pretty often. 65% of your, and that leads right into the next question too. 65% of your traffic is coming into your site through mobile. So if there is a layout shift accumulation problem, page speed problem, things that you don't think about, like when someone goes to your website, millennials and Gen Z, they're out of here. They're like, they don't want to do it. They're like, I don't want to deal with it. It looks funky. Bye. I'll go to the next person, or I'll go to Extra Space because there was an Extra Space right next to you. And now they've gotten a distrust for the mom and pop variation of the website. I've seen that happen, time and time again, where it's like you get that person to the website and their literal stopping blocker point was the fact that the website didn't shift properly.
Wow. Yeah. No, that'd be me as well. I mean, if that happened, if I saw something like that, it would take me right out of the flow of the rental process. So
exactly.
Moving on. So see, that's a great lead in. So why is it important for my website to work well on mobile phones? We kind of already answered that, but hey, go ahead.
Yeah, over 65 of your traffic on average is coming from mobile sites. I think that's enough said. It needs to be done.
Yep. And I'm saying, if you're there to rent a unit and if it's not flowing and intuitive and working, cool. They're bouncing. They're going to the next place.
And everyone has a smartphone. Like everyone's smartphone is a mini computer. We need to make sure that we're capturing that.
Yep. All right. So how does the speed of my website affect my SEO?
So website loading speed is a critical factor. It's a lot more technical, and it gets you get more into like the development side of things. But Google prioritizes user experience a lot. So when they're on a site that's slow loading, it can really negatively affect the impact of that user's experience and also your bounce rate, the engagement, and all of the things leading into a good trust and authority score for your user. So that's really what's important about your page load speed. It's the end result. Google really focuses on their customer, which is the person searching.
Gotcha. It's the user experience. Yep. And if it's not moving fast enough, yep, again, they're bouncing.
For short, you can call it UX UI.
Okay. All right. Next. So do the pictures on my website affect SEO? And if so,
yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. They significantly impact the, SEO on your website in a couple of different ways. If they are not properly optimized, so if you're uploading images that are too large, they will cause your website to slow down. Google won't present those as often on the SERPs because then they will slow down their search results pages as well. And it will slow down the person's computer who expects a high speed experience from Google. On top of that, on the back end of it, if you're not labeling them properly, you're not putting yourself in a position to be found for those SERPs with information that means something to the customer. So if it's an image of a person in your storage facility and it's user upload image number 1, user upload image number 2, means nothing. But if you were to put, my storage facility manager standing in a row of storage units, you've now used storage facility and storage units, and that's content that's on the back end of your website that bots can read that's not overstuffing any keywords, but it's also ADA compliant.
Okay.
So many factors.
But you're touching on stuff I haven't even really thought about. Again, if I'm not thinking about it, I know that means like 99% of the people listening haven't even thought of that before either. So that's why we're doing this. We're doing a public service. All right, let's keep going. Does what I do on social media affect my website's SEO?
It does not directly affect your website's SEO, but it does influence the amount of activity, shareable links, and it could lead to more traffic. So it depends on how you present that that social media profile to the world. If you have content that people actually want to interact with and they're going to share, it can help build more traffic to your website, but it's not going to directly affect the actual SEO.
Gotcha. That's a whole debate. We've done debates before about the pros and cons of social media if you get rentals from it, and you do, but I won't say indirectly, and that's a whole other episode. We can talk about that later. So.
I think that's more community outreach. What I've used or previously seen, social media used for is like people do things in their community and they put that out there. People respond to it, and then because of that, people know who they are.
Yep. All right. Let's keep the show moving.
Yep.
So how often should I update my website for good SEO?
Regularly. Consistently.
Moving on. No, just kidding. Go on.
Relevant content is important. So Google doesn't just leave your website alone. I keep talking about these bots. They're real. They come in from the search results pages. They go through your page and they will basically cache that instance of that run through. And every single time they cache that instance, what ends up happening is it builds a history of what your website is. And they get to see how often, even though us as the end user doesn't get to see that change, Google does get to see that historical change over time. We've all seen, the time jump. I forget what that website is, where we can look at old websites.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that's what Google does. They have that stored and cached somewhere, and they can see how often you're updating your website and how many times that variation just gets resubmitted. So when it's resubmitting the same thing over and over again, they stop sending the bots as often. So you become less relevant. and you get less traffic sent to your site. So it all kind of correlates. The more times you update, they see that update, they go, oh, okay, they updated. We're going to send them again next week to see if they update again next week. And then if you did update next week, oh, we'll send them in 3 days. Let's see if they did it again in 3 days. You didn't. So now they're going to send it every week. And that's how they're going to hit your consistency levels.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to talk more about that in the future, because that's something that doesn't get touched on nearly enough. So, okay. All right. Next up, what's the difference between SEO and paying for ads on Google?
The main difference is, honestly, SEO is free. With a professional in the background, constantly monitoring and being paid to do that, you're being found on that first page free. So those clicks, those views, all of those things are free. Also, it is something that will stay. If you pull your budget from PPC, which is paid, you put yourself on that first page, you pay for every click, you pay for every view, whatever variation of it you want to use. And then once you pull that budget, you're done. You're off the first page. There's no residual effect from PPC. Whereas SEO, when done properly, the residual effect can last, 6 months to a year if you're not paying attention to it afterwards.
Nice. It's a ripple effect. You're kind of riding the wave of good SEO. That's
exactly
what we are talking about here. All right. Next, are there any new SEO trends I should know about for my self-storage business?
So, I think the biggest change in SEO was GA4. We all kind of dealt with that, and moving from GA4 from 2023, from regular universal analytics to GA4. But one of the big things that I've been kind of talking about for a few years now is voice search optimization.
Yeah.
And it's more based on, when you go, hey, Siri, show me where this is, or it's not. So the way someone searches on Google is almost not English half of the time. Like it's, muddled English, but when you speak it out loud to an AI assistant or anything like that, you actually speak full sentences. So one of the things that I do is I put out verbal directions, to make sure that that's available to Google to be able to read. So if they were to ask how to get there from Midtown, or if they were to ask to get there from, south side of town, I put all those types of verbal directions into the website to help. So that's one of the things that I'm helping with for voice search, so that they can say, hey, we already have that information, or whatever it might be. Then there is just keeping up with AI in general. It's such a big moving topic. Google's doing AI-based search engine results pages now, and you'll see them pop up. So they use AI to be able to give you better generated results. So that's something we want to all pay attention to. I really have no idea how that's going to affect the storage industry. So I'm eyes open.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. I keep watching AI stuff as much as I can, and it's hard to keep up. So
I think you're better at it than I am, Jim, honestly. I'm just over here
I'm trying to keep my head above water. All right. Next question. What is your number one piece of advice for someone new to SEO in the self-storage industry?
Mm-hmm. So my biggest piece of advice is, so if you're new to the industry, if you have a storage facility that you already own, that's already been, opened up, I would focus on restructuring your local content, locally focused content, address, specific needs and questions, the things like that of the audience for your area. So really get to know who your audience is. Don't just say oh, these are general questions that the storage industry has. Yeah. Think more I know this area specifically has really bad winters. What do we do to stop stuff from freezing over in our outdoor units? Do we do anything for that? No. Yes, maybe. I have facilities that have outdoor heated units, and I would never even think that an outdoor unit was heated, and they didn't state that anywhere on their website. And once we put that in a couple of different places, immediately started getting phone calls talking about, hey, I'd like to store in your outdoor heated unit. Filled them up in less than a month.
Huh.
Yeah. Little things like that. You just don't they think if they're like, oh, someone wants a unit, we can tell them it's a heated unit. Yeah. People are doing their research online. So if you give them the information, they'll find it and they'll call you. And the faster that they can get to that answer, they're going to call you with a rental and a reservation versus wasting time.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing. And then go to your Google My Business. If you're a new facility, if you have never opened your doors, the second that your office looks like it's livable by a manager, start your GBP immediately. your Google My Business page. Even if you cannot get rentals, you don't have your C of O, any of that stuff, that's fine. As long as you can take a picture, because you have to do a live walkthrough now that looks like your office is open. You can get that GBP, and what that does is it's going to give you local presence a lot earlier than trying to build that the day that your doors open. So 3 months, 4 months ahead of time, you've got, first, second, third placement on Google My Business where you would not have had that previously.
No, that's huge. That's I talk about Google Business Profiles as much as I can until I'm blue in the face, because it's so important, and that's a great tip.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question here. Sorry, interrupt you. What are citations, and why are they important?
So citations are those listings that you see. Sometimes it's like Hot Frog, Yellow Pages, and back in the day, Yellow Book, or the Yellow Pages, not online. White Pages, things like that. Those are all now citations that are online as well. Those basically create a consistency across Google, across all of the different search engines that know who you are based off of something called NAP. It's name, address, and phone number. Those are the top 3 things that any search engine is looking for. And I'm talking about, they look at it to the extent of if there's double spacing or you capitalized one of them the wrong way, it might cause an inconsistency error within your citation listings. There's hundreds of listings, and you can do a couple of different programs out there like Bright Local, or I think the other one is Yext does it as well. And you can put that in there. They're paid for services though, and you can see where all of your inconsistencies would come in, and it would tell you, you need to correct your Yelp, you need to correct this, and it would tell you what exactly is incorrect. So if your phone number is off, if your website's off, or your address is off and your name is off, those are those 3 things, and your website is the main thing because it has to go to the same website. It'll associate all of those things to you. And if any of them are different, it could possibly take that listing away from you because it doesn't know that it's you. A biggest thing about that is people think that they have to have different phone numbers for the different sources, but Google actually doesn't like that. So if you're doing GBP phone number and a website phone number and a Yelp phone number, that's causing inconsistency errors.
Gotcha. Yeah. The more consistent you are with the right information out there, that's going to help your overall domain and visibility, I would assume, right? So.
Exactly. That's why citations are important. No one's really going to those citations individually to find you and get business off of you. Yeah. It's more just Google, the internet, and all of the technical side of things need it to be able to give you more trust, authority, and score.
That's huge. Mm-hmm. All right. Next up. Well, so this is important, obviously. So how can people contact you to find out more about your SEO for self-storage services?
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach out to me via email, eva@beaconavmarketing.com, or you can go to my website and set up a booking there. First is always just the general meeting. I take about 15-30 minutes to get to know who you are, what your needs are, and then we move forward from there to see if you would like to do an assessment.
Perfect. And that's kind of like what we just, next question. So end up booking a free consult, audit on my website. Okay, well, what happens next?
Yeah, we go over your website. Once I get that audit done, we go over everything that I found. And then I come up with an action plan within that same conversation, talk to you about how we would execute that over the next 6 months. And kind of you say either yay or nay if you like it. And we move forward from there with a 6-month relationship. But my contracts do say 6 months, but they have their own clause in them that says, if anyone feels like we're not doing what we need to do, you can walk out of it. I'm not very strict about it, but I do ask for the 6 months because that's generally how long it takes for me to fully prove the movement of SEO.
Gotcha. But like you just said, hey, if it's not a fit or something's, things come up, cool, you can walk on it.
I've had owners that sold their property mid 6 months. They didn't know they were going to do that. That's the biggest reason I put that clause in there, because they came to me and they're like, I have to pay you for the next 4 months. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But if you buy another facility, come to me.
There you go. That's perfect. Oh, Eva, thank you so much for, it was rapid fire questions, going at you. And you didn't have to take a drink the entire time. So that was awesome. Threw it all at you.
I was born to talk, I guess.
Oh, no. Worked out great. So, no, hopefully this was an overview, guys. This is a great overview for, SEO and the importance of it, obviously. And I think for some future episodes, we'll pick some certain topics and go much more in detail. But I appreciate you taking the time and joining us, Eva.
Of course. Anytime, Jim. I had so much fun. And Obviously, this is one of the topics that I could talk about for days. So if you guys want to drill into any one specific object, I'm here for it.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll make sure everyone has their contact info so they can reach out to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. See ya.
See ya.
Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder. Do you want to level up your storage game? Visit theselfstorageshow.com. Grab some high-value freebies, check out top vendor spotlights, and stay in the loop with our newsletter. Do you want to chat about becoming a client with 3 Mile Storage Management? All the info's there. Plus, if you've got a story to share, we're listening. Everything you need is at theselfstorageshow.com.